When I went to meet Sippy Saab, I had nariyal ka tel in my hair with my chashma and one choti. I am the kind of person who doesn't want to end up saying, oh, I never lived life. I just ran from studio to studio and my life is over and now I'm dead. I don't want to do that. I want to live life and I want to enjoy each aspect of it.
Raveena, thank you so much for making time for this. It's so lovely to see you. You look fabulous. This session is called Raveena Tandon Timeless because that is genuinely who you are. You know, to have 30 years in any career is amazing, but I think it's especially amazing in entertainment for a woman because it's such a male led business. It's such a star obsessed business. uh, and you've had a career that includes blockbuster movies, songs that continue to be remixed, a national award, and now a streaming show, Aranyak, on Netflix. My first question is, how have you managed to stay fluid enough as an actor to have this sort of longevity?
Um, I think the key is that I think I'm learning every day. Anu, I never stopped learning, and I think that is a very major part in my growth as well. And I think that's very necessary for everyone to be broad-minded enough to think that there is the day I would have thought that, okay, I know it all, I've done it all, that would have been the end of me. So for me to keep an open mind and say, okay, now this is something new and I need to learn this as well and adapt myself to it is something that I think I have always done. And I've always been a very flexible person, to be honest. I might look tough and I might look fierce and my interviews might be very strong. But when it comes to adjustment and it comes to tolerating and it comes to molding myself into what I think I would want to be or I would like myself to be, I think then I'm an easy going person. And I think that has kind of helped me with my entire attitude of being there, not being in the past, not looking for the future, but being in the present. And that is something that's important to me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's so thrilling, Raveena, that it's not just you and Aranyak. There was this week there's Sushmita and Arya too. A couple of weeks ago, I think Lara Datta had hookups and hiccups, and I was just looking at this and thinking of how amazing it is that streaming continues to create opportunities for all these talented female actors, right? Uh, at a time when I think Bollywood has become way better, but is still taking baby steps. Uh, you know, uh, you've spoken very, very generously about the Tip Tip remake, and absolutely, Katrina looked gorgeous. But for me, I'm just saying, for me personally as a viewer, I felt like it was dispiriting because I just felt like, why is it that men can continue? I mean, Akshay is repeating a song he did in 1994, right? So there is a certain leeway that men have, and women don't. And tell me, do you think streaming can take the risks it does because there is no box office involved? Or is it because there are actually more women in positions of power on OTT platforms?
You've partly answered my question. So the fear of proving to be a box office success, I think, which has been a sort of liberating experience for filmmakers to be on the OTT platform. um, See, our audiences, Anu, also now are exposed to global cinema,
Yeah.
right? World over, there are shows coming in from Iran, from Korea, from you name the place, China, and they're all doing well. And earlier in the 90s, when you and I would want to watch anything that was a foreign film or film that came from abroad, one could only catch these kind of films on film festivals, or if you went and bought a DVD and came back with it, if someone recommended a good film. So that was the time. Now it's on your fingertips, and our audiences are exposed to different kind of genres, to different kind of ideas, experimental cinema, to everything. And I believe that now there is an audience for everything. So for our filmmakers now, I think, like I said, it's the freedom to not be under pressure. The constraints, the restraints are not there. Ke, सब कुछ ठीक है, लेकिन I think एक item गाना डालना जरूरी है. So that is not there anymore. के चलेगी कि नहीं पता नहीं, एक तगड़ा सा song डालते हैं, चलो, audiences को खींचने के लिए. So all those, you've lived through that time.
I've been there.
So we know how it is. And so I feel that has been very liberating for our filmmakers, where they now are approaching scripts which they probably wouldn't have dared to make for the cinema with the kind of pressure that they would be under from distributors or exhibitors or producers, to kind of deliver a formula masala box office film. And hence I think this kind of exposure has really helped cinema to grow. And I think even if they would make a very I would say radical experimental film or a show, one would definitely know that there would be a niche audience for it. But maybe they would not be able to release it in the theaters, for the reason that, okay, if the theaters, it doesn't reach out to the masses, then it's not going to work, and the producer is going to lose his entire investment. A lot of people will lose a lot of money, so let's not risk that. But over here, on an OTT platform, you know that there is a certain niche audience which will see it and which will probably appreciate it.
But Raveena, tell me this, okay? You, I think today, tweeted about Chandigarh Kare Ashki and how much you like that. And that's a film that takes risks, right? So obviously Hindi cinema is now in a place where directors and writers, like you said, are willing to go to a certain extent. When they're willing to tackle, fairly complex subjects like, falling in love with a trans person, why are they still so afraid of women of a certain age?
I think that is slowly wearing out. I can see the change for sure. But yes, I think there is room for much, much more. Absolutely. And like you said, when you spoke about the item songs, I think honestly, Anu, for me, it's been a win-win situation, because all these remixes, they get a new life, they get a new beat. The youngsters are completely loving them. And in the end, I own up. In the end, I kind of end up owning them all over again. So
of course, no. And you have spoken extremely generously.
It's been a win-win situation all along.
Absolutely. It's just, my grouse, I guess, if you could call it that, is always that why don't talented women also get to headline films and get to do some of the stuff? I understand it's a business, and finally it's about bums on seats. And who gets more bums on seats? That's what it is all about. But I'm genuinely, it's thrilling for me that to watch you do Kasturi Dogra in Aranyak, to watch you do this character who is handling many issues at work, many issues in her marriage, issues with her children. Tell me, what was your biggest learning as an actor on the show? What did you take away from it? What did it force you to think about?
So honestly, we all do know that women try their best to multitask. They want to be the best mom, the best daughter-in-law. They want to please their in-laws, their husband, their children. They try to be everywhere and try to do what is expected out of them. Aranyak is definitely a fictional story, but about very, very real people, about people who are flawed. They're not perfect. She's not a superhero. She tries to be there for her children. She tries to manage in the kitchen. She tries to manage at home, but she kind of fails. The thing that I definitely that stayed on with me with learning from Aranyak was the fact that you and I today, Anu, probably are lucky and privileged that we've had our families backing us to pursue our dreams, to achieve in our careers. I took the time off when I wanted to. I got back when I wanted to. I wanted to enjoy my life with my kids. It was my choice. It was not that I was forced to take a sabbatical. But I wanted to be there when my son took his first step, when my daughter said her first word, when their first tooth fell. I did not want to miss out that aspect in life because I am the kind of person who doesn't want to end up saying, oh, I never lived life. I just ran from studio to studio and my life is over and now I'm dead there. I don't want to do that. I want to live life and I want to enjoy each aspect of it. You know, my family life, my parents, my priorities are exactly in that order. And when I'm required at work, I want to give it my 100%. But what I realized is that there are so many Kasturi Dogras out there who don't have that support. They don't have that backing. All they hear is sarcastic comments when they come back home, unappreciated. They run back to their offices the next day and the boss is throwing another one at them as don't play the woman victim card with us. Don't play the, oh, I had my family to see, or I had to rush my child to the doctor, or my son had very high fever, so I got late. Don't play the victim card. Don't play the woman victim card. And it's a very thankless situation. Yeah. And the fact that so many of them sacrifice so much to still try and be everywhere. And even if they're getting that equal opportunity, they're not being able to grab it because of, ties at home that are probably pulling them down instead of being the wind beneath their wings. So here is what was a very, very big takeaway for me.
Tell me, but Raveena, are there any tools as an actor that you used in a show like this that you didn't know about at all when you were this big star in the 90s?
I think the only thing honestly different was the entire format of shooting a show, a web series. See, with film, I think we're very, very sure about the shots that are going to go in, about which, lens is going to be used, which angle is going to be used. Over here, the thing is, because we've got so much time to play with so many characters, we've got the time to, to let the audiences absorb the nuances, the characteristics, the feelings of each character, and so many characters have their stories for the audience to explore, to be there and to live with the characters, what they are going through at that time. That there are so many shots taken and you are required to do that again and again and again. That was a little exhaustive for me. I feel that was a little more exhaustive shooting, while in a film you've just got that 2 hours to encompass everything and put it there, but over here we have this time to do everything. So it's exploring every character, and with that then you have to be involved with everything, and that exhausted me a bit. I think that is the difference that it took me time to get used to. I used to get exhausted by the end of it. But I think it was with Aranyak also, it was a great learning, because when we made Aranyak, we were very clear that we are catering not to only a certain elite audience, we are catering to a mass level. And let's make it in a way which Aranyak, even though the title is a little difficult for people because it's a Sanskrit title, so it's not that colloquial, but for people of every mindset to be able to see it and identify with the characters in some certain sort of way.
Raveena, I was reading a couple of your older interviews, and you had talked about how the 90s was so hard. There was media that would body shame, humiliate, bring down other women at the behest of heroes. You talked about how there were camps, there were these mean girl gangs. Now, you were 16 and a half when you started. How in the world did you deal with all of this?
My initial years were very, very, very tough. It was very difficult to deal with because for me, it was it was honestly a little bit of a culture shock, because I am one of those few lucky ones, privileged ones, who was brought up equally with my brother. There was never a difference at home. What he was allowed to do, I was allowed to do. I used to drive my Jeep and my bike to college. And I studied in a co-ed school, which I'm proud of, my Jamna Banarsi school. I studied in a co-ed college, that was Mitibai College in Juhu. And I had boys who were my best friends, like till date, from school. Some of my friends who are guys who are my best friends till date. And so I found it a little strange that the media was so narrow-minded in those days, in the 90s, that I don't think they could handle a normal, warm, honest, and opinionated a girl who treated her co-stars like her buddies.
Yeah.
And they just could not handle it. And I think it was sad, because there were so many of these women editors who I used to turn and say, but listen, he's just a friend of mine, and he was in college with me, or I know him since Adams because I'm from the industry and I know him since we were children, or whatever. Just could not accept that. And I remember of many, many nights, sleepless nights, where I would cry myself to sleep, and I would dread every month another yellow, gossipy tabloid magazine coming out with completely ripping me, my credibility, my reputation, my parents into shreds. And I would wonder that what is it all about? No, they linked me with my own brother. And Stardust wrote about that as well. That there's a handsome, fair boy who comes to drop, that's Raveena Tandon's, we've discovered Raveena Tandon's boyfriend.
God, it's unbelievable.
We've lived through that. We've lived through. So it was, and who would clarify? How much would you were at the mercy of those journalists and the editors. And even if you'd say hello, they say, oh yeah, okay, it's okay. Take it with a pinch of salt. That was their favorite line. Take it with a pinch of salt.
And did you just toughen up? Did you just grow this sort of thick skin that allowed you to deal with everything?
Like a typical scorpion, I went deeper into my shell, I think. And I kind of kept a boundary. I had very few friends in the media who probably started off and who probably knew me and believed me for what I was. And there were few who just loved to hate me, and they would actually remove personal vendetta out, on magazines. It was really, really scary. I remember I was shooting for Agni Varsha in Hampi, in Bangalore, which is, Hampi, 6 hours away from Bangalore. And there was Anna Singh, Jackie Shroff, Milind Soman, Nag Arjun, Arjun Sajnani, the entire unit of 200 people. I'm shooting there for them when the national awards were announced. And Times of India front page had an article by this gentleman, which said that I was partying one night before in Mumbai, like that night. And I'm sitting with a unit in Bangalore with 200 people. And I would be like, but I am here. And I was so disturbed by the whole controversy, and I was wrongly named as well. And the person who named me apologized later on Zee TV. But again, it didn't reach that many people because the headlines had gone out. So that apology and everything just did not come out. And the fact being that I was so disturbed at that time that Arjun had to tell me, listen, you pack up shooting from here. You're not being able to deal with this controversy from here. Your mind is there, because it was really hurtful. And he actually said, listen, fly down and go clear it out. And I remember Mahesh Bhatt Saab and everyone, they'd all stood by me and they said, listen, we'll all fight this together. This is complete nonsense. We know where you know the truth. So, it was memories like this that was so disturbing, but nobody wanted to interview anyone, to know the truth, because they had put it out as a headline and that is what they wanted to go with. So there was without.
Tell me, you also said, and this I found fascinating, that during the actual shoot of Andaz Apna Apna, none of you were speaking to each other, which I could not believe. I'm like, how did they create such a fun movie when they were all quarreling? How did you guys do it?
I think only Lolo and I weren't speaking to each other.
No, but you also said Salman wasn't speaking to Rajkumar Santoshi.
No, a love, tiff relationship. Always. He's my best friend today. And we've grown up together. So we used to, when we had seen, we were talking and everything. But otherwise, on the whole, yeah, I don't think anyone else was talking to each other. But me, Amir, Raji, we were all, I mean, the rest of the unit was all fine.
30 years of battling bad journalism. Tell me, Raveena, I know it's impossible for the people who are listening to you right now to even imagine this, but you have actually shot for 6 different films in a day. Okay, and you said that how difficult is it for me to play this rich spoiled brat who's in love with a poor guy because that's the role you said you were playing in every single
कि पहले मेरे से पार जाएगी नहीं जाएगी.
no, at the time, Raveena, at the time when you were doing this, did you feel shortchanged as an actor, or was it just the way it was, and did you just go with the flow?
You know, Anu, actually, initially, my entire career was so unplanned and so, okay, whatever's happening, let's take it. Because, like I tell people, I'm in this industry, but completely by default. I never grew up with the dreams of being an actor. I had other plans in life. I was not geared. I never thought I'd be an actress. So I never grew up with that feeling. I never trained because, like I said, I didn't want to be an actor. So I never trained, never did any acting classes, dancing classes, nothing. So for me, Pathar Ke Phool just happened. And that too, it was, I think, because of my college friends that I eventually said yes. I was in FIJC. I was sitting in the canteen and bragging and said, guess what? I was offered a film with Salman Khan. And they were like, listen, please do it, man. You can't not say no. We will not allow you in the canteen the next day. Just tu kar lena film. हम लोग shooting पे आएंगे, फिर उसके बाद तेको करना है नहीं करना है तो छोड़ देना. With that intention, I did Pathar Ke Phool.
That's amazing.
निकल पड़ेगी तो निकल पड़ेगी, नहीं निकली तो ठीक है, yeah, I gave it a shot. So that was not my ambition. So after that, definitely there was no looking back. But I think I just signed films nonstop. So, and yes, I was 16 and a half, 17. So that's the kind of roles that I would have got anyway, playing a rich, spoiled brat. And because I was a Mumbai kid and everything. And I tell people that what opportunities now are this new generation is getting is so amazing. They get these opportunities in the in their third or fourth film, whereas we got it after 11th or 15th film when we really had to prove ourselves. And that too, it was an effort that we really had to make to convince the filmmaker that let me do this. I think I can do it, and I want to explore what I can do myself and what push myself to see what boundaries I have, what are my limitations, what I can do and what I cannot do. Yeah. And I just learned camera work. I learned everything just along the way. And I think experience is something that's the best teacher.
A couple of years ago, Raveena, I was doing an interview with Kajol, and I asked her what she misses most about the 90s. And she said that there was a sense of camaraderie and sort of familial bonding. And she said it really did feel like a family. And now there are just minders and the entourages are so big. And she said it's become a colder place. Do you feel like that?
I don't believe that it's become a colder place. Because honestly, now, for example, the unit of Aranyak and us and all of us, we're so bonded. We're all so messaging each other and congratulating each other and happy for each other. But I do believe that it's a little more self-absorbed today's times. Anu, in those days, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have smartphones doing half your jobs. We didn't have vanity vans. We changed in generator trucks. We changed behind umbrellas. We changed behind a bed sheet held together with the dressman and hairdresser holding it for you. And we went into loos also like that. And even if we were shooting in the middle of a street, our chairs, those easy chairs, you remember those with the, what's it called, that raffia kind of fabric nylon chairs that were just laid out for us, and we just lounge in them. And we had the entertainment except to talk to each other and talk to each other about our lives. Correct. And that's we bonded, and that's how we became like families. But nowadays, the minute it is start, sound, camera, action, and cut, everyone's on their phones, everyone's taking a picture for their Instagram, everyone's taking a picture of their cake or their coffee, and or they're in their vanity vans watching a movie or watching their iPad or playing a game, or that's what it's become. I think technology has taken over that human to human contact that we had. It was that bonding. I remember I was in Switzerland and shooting with Chichi for something, and there was some turmoil going on in my life. And I was just sitting, with him, and he came and he said, "Did you hear?" And I said, "What?" And he broke some news to me. And he said, "I heard, and I thought I should be the first person to come and tell you." And he just held my hand. And he just sat there while I was in stunned silence. And he just sat there. And he just said, "Himmat rakh, hum log hai na, sab saath mein hai na." And that time, and that was the time. Over here, everyone's behind closed doors. Over there, we had nowhere to run and hide and be alone. Whatever you felt, whatever you were going through, whether it was out in the open or in the magazines, or your humiliation, your shame, your lows, your highs, we were all in it together.
Yeah.
And is like my makeup team was my family. I think I spent more time with them than what I spent with my real family from since I was 16 or 17. So
tell me, Raveena, is there something you look at in the film industry today, like any change which you consider extremely positive, which you are very happy that this has now happened?
I see a positive change in finding a lot more women in the workplace, but they have much more. I am looking and hoping for a more positive change for the safety of women in our workplaces. I am happy to see that technologically, content-wise, I think we are doing. This is a great time. This is a great period. We've kind of overcome the shackles of being that stereotype formula film kind of a thing. Like you said, and I said, that there are great films being made, like Kare Ashiki, and it's with the new lot, and I just completely loved it. I thought it was great. And I know I told Gattu and Bhushan that wear this film like a badge of honor, because you are the one who you made this film with the guts that you had, whether acceptance or non-acceptance. And I think wear this film like a badge of honor, like I wore the badge of honor of Daman, talking about marriage, where people were protesting against it, that, oh, how can a husband rape her? No, it doesn't work, man, it doesn't work. So yeah, some films are just meant to be that.
Tell me, the other thing that I think is amazing is that all of you, you, Kajol, Shilpa, Karishma, you're all looking as good, if not better, than you did when you all started out, which is amazing, and it's wonderful. But is there a lot of pressure on women to look a certain way? Is that something you feel as an actor?
Well, I don't think so. I think those days have gone where people would body shame or talk about your thunder thighs or Amazonian growth or whatever. A lot of these things we've heard, all us women at that time. We looked like khate peete ghar ki ladkiyan, all of us. Like we were good. I think there's a lot more awareness now in this generation of ours to look good, to feel confident about ourselves. And there are so many of our actresses who are happy and comfortable in their skin the way they are, including me.
So you think it's a good thing? It's never pressurizing.
I know in Aranyak, I look like a hatti-katti pahadan cop who can smash a couple of people. I'm cool with that. I'm fine.
And you should be. You're slapping, your character is slapping people. You can't look dainty. You have to look like you would scare them, and you do. Tell me, Raveena, and I'll open it up to the audience after this. What is next for you apart from KGF 2? We saw that promo, but is there anything else you signed, you are keen on? What can you tell us?
So definitely is the fact that me, Anu, I work at my own pace. Yeah. And you know how I am with home and everything as well, and you and me are quite similar in those ways, involved with our children and involved with the families. So KGF 2 will be the next release, and then there is another movie that I've completed, that is Reliance. They'll announce it, so I don't want to break the bubble.
Okay.
And then there is another movie that I've signed. Again, wait for the announcement. Then, of course, there will be season 2, which we are looking forward to. I'm hoping, keeping my fingers crossed. I am scripts for sure, but I've not zeroed down. So I think now I do still have my hands full with quite a bit.
So are you reading scripts like every week, Raveena? Do you want to be actively working more than you have been?
Yes, now I do, because I do get a lot more time off now. Kids are my daughter's in the 11th, and son is in the 8th. So now they after 8th I realized I don't think I can handle their studies anymore. After 8th it was all French, Greek and everything to me. Mathematics was like, I was getting dyslexic with the numbers after a while. After 8th standard I didn't understand their studies at all. Till
Yeah.
8th I was there, hands on. But now they're on their own, and yeah, I think it does give me a little more time to do films, but again at my pace. I hear you, Sakshat.
I'm good, ma'am. First of all, it's a pleasure to hear you. I mean, the chilled attitude that you have is just that's I think the most admired quality I would feel that an actress would have in today's age. But
Thank you.
coming to my question, so ma'am, as you mentioned that you have this skill of learning, you have this urge of learning constantly. That's why you have been able to survive. So apart from that, ma'am, what do you think is the most underrated skill in today's times, especially in today's times, for any actor to succeed in Bollywood?
Talent.
No, Raveena, he asked underrated. So is there anything that we don't really notice, that we think that it's not required, but it actually is? Is there anything else apart? Of course, talent though you have to have, but or kuch hai?
No, I said there are so many who are not talented. You didn't get it, Anu.
You are right. This is true.
When I see the growth of Alia, I see the growth of Deepika, I see the kind of movies that, I mean, it's amazing. Look at Tiger, look at Shahid, look at Ranveer, look at Ranbir, look at the talent that we have. That is deservedly so,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
look at so many of these young boys who just come in and just floored us completely. I mean, see the energy that they give out on screen. It's fabulous. But I think most definitely hard work and a little bit of luck takes you a long, long way. And just be sincere to your work. Just be completely sincere to your work.
Hi, Raveena. I'm a big fan, firstly, a huge fan from the 90s. So my question to you is, if you were launched in 2020, if you were in the current lot, how will you do things differently from the current lot of actresses? Like, what would be the different thing that you will be doing?
If I was getting launched, definitely would have done some dancing classes. I would have done some acting classes. I wouldn't have permed my hair for sure. That horrible perm. I would have probably done my eyebrows, taken care of myself, and then got launched. Which I did none of the above when I got launched.
So did you literally not think about any of this? You just walked onto a set and started acting?
When I went to meet Sippy Saab, I had nariyal ka tel in my hair with my chashma and one choti.
And you still got cast. So clearly you had something, Raveena, some X factor.
How it started was that Vivek Vaswani and Anand Balani saw me at open house with my friends from college. We had gone there. And obviously I'd washed my hair and, it was not, I would not walk around with tail every day. But then they said, you have to meet Sippy Saab. And that was my hair oiling day. So that couldn't have gone. So I said, oh, okay. Then my mom was saying, Arey, thoda, just at least, I said, no, I'll come back and do whatever I have to do. Now I'm getting late. So I just ran off like that, wore a jeans and a t-shirt and went with my chashma and said, yes, sir, so happy to meet you. Because that was also like family. I mean, they were like, they knew Papa and they called Papa. So it was not that it was, I had to dress up to please anyone. I wouldn't have done that anyway. That is how I was. And and then I did a shoot with Sheena Sippy. Sheena did my first photo shoot actually. So I had done just a couple of ads. So I think that those were also the pictures that had gone out. So it was, so they accepted me with tail veil in the head. So it was fine.
What a great story. What a great story. Raveena, thank you so much. It's been so lovely to chat with you. Thank you for making the time and cannot wait to see you in KGF 2 and lots of power to you. And thank you everyone for joining us.